The echoes of the pandemic roared throughout Lightning Bolt Stadium during the fall of 2020. The anticipation of a possible season loomed into the following spring and revealed a condensed season for the Storm football team.
The bowl game, the championship game, was filled with a emotion that I did not anticipate. It was not fulfilling at all. It was disappointing. We were very thankful for the opportunity to get to play during COVID. But when you have a team like the team we had during that season with Luke Wysong and Trey Watson and Trey Ortega and Jeff Davison, and you go down the list of all the players that we had, and they didn't get to play a full season. We played the very best teams we could play. When the season was over, the teams that were ranked 2, 3, 4, and 5 were the 4 teams that we got to play. Went to University Stadium, was an awesome opportunity, to go play there at UNM and get to play in a venue that high school kids don't get to play in the state of New Mexico.
He's got a wide open man, and it's cut and dancing into the end zone.
It was a preview of what was to come for senior slot back Luke Wysong, who recently had committed to the University of New Mexico.
Shot out of a cannon, touchdown Luke Wysong. Straight through, and it's Jensen, and he cuts to the outside, and he's gonna go. Touchdown Cleveland.
The Storm dominated in their last game together in a season that may not have happened.
Demetrius Banks coasting and diving into the end zone. Touchdown.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel very blessed, with all my coaches and family and team around me, because we all put in hard work every day, and it's not about me. It's about the team and everything. And I'm just really grateful for everyone else and my teammates.
To go out and play the way that we did and finish the way that we did, you would think there was this feeling of euphoria, but it was a feeling of sadness, a feeling of incomplete, because we wanted more time together. We wanted those 9 more games that we should have had. And I'll forever love that football team, but being fulfilled and saying we did what we needed to do, we did not get that done.
The early bird gets the worm, or in the case of the Cleveland football team, championships. Many players have come and gone, but the program's practice routine has remained the same.
We lost the best class, senior class, that Cleveland's ever had in Trey Watson, Trey Ortega, Jeff Davis. You can go down the line. It was Luke Wysong. It was an unbelievable class and the best that Cleveland has ever seen collectively. And that's saying a lot, because Cleveland has had a lot of really terrific football teams and players. In doing that, it is hard the first time you set foot in that weight room and all those seniors are gone and you're starting with your new group. And you look around, you're like, who's going to be our leader? Who's going to be our guy? Trey Watson's not here. Luke Wysong, who's going to make the plays? And it's time for those guys to start taking the reins of leadership and go along. And it's what happens in high school football. It's a cyclical deal.
All right, fellas. Considering where we were 1 year ago today, I feel pretty blessed to be in the room right now. You should feel pretty blessed to have that uniform on. Pretty excited for the opportunity to get on the field and do what you love to do. Right? Okay? So take advantage of the opportunity. We're going to talk about some things this morning that put some things in perspective, focus you on who we are and why we're here.
For the coaches, we knew there was enough talent. For the players, it was a matter of making them believe in the fact that they could protect the tradition and they could continue on with what was happening in front of them.
You know, going into the next season, we always try to say it's a brand new season. You know, last year's championship means absolutely nothing. Those guys are gone. This is a new team. What's your legacy going to be?
There's only three returning starters, so we knew that coming into the season it was going to be a little bit more difficult.
One of the biggest things at Cleveland that players feel, it's not spoken of a lot, but there's a pressure to uphold the tradition. There's a pressure to succeed. There's a pressure to win. Nobody wants to be the class that lets down the tradition. And that goes kind of back to the standard that the players hold themselves to in the program. And that's a good thing. It's good that they feel like they're not very good. It's good that they feel like they're not where they should be because it makes them work. The worst thing you can get is fat and happy.
I knew that we were going to put up a good fight, we were going to put up a good run, and we just had to keep working hard. We had to keep our head down. We couldn't show off to social media. We couldn't all do all that stuff. We just had to stay in our own little bubble and work.
The 2021 Cleveland Storm understood the pressure of the tradition. Now, it was time to add their chapter to the program's past.
We saw our schedule for the first time in what was it, June-ish? And we saw we had a 1 o'clock game in Las Cruces, and we were just like, wow.
We were excited. It was our first game of the season. We're like, all right, here we go. This is how we start off. But going down there was a long bus ride. We had to wake up early. Then we went down there, and it was insanely hot. We were all overheating, and Centennial's used to it, so that's their environment, that's their home.
We come in there, offense was a little slow, brand new, fresh O-line. This is pretty much every person's on the offense first actual start.
It's a handoff, and it is, I believe, Perry towards the end zone. It is in. That's a Cleveland touchdown. Here's the stretch play to the outside. Touchdown, walking in. On a 4th and call it 12, Lopez out of the backfield. Look at all the room!
Despite the Storm's strong start and a breakout performance by running back Josh Perry, Centennial's defense causes confusion for the newly christened offense.
I couldn't really see it at the beginning of first half, but at halftime, Coach Ragnar pulled me aside and really showed me where they were coming from, and I grabbed the iPad and saw. And I was like, oh wow, it's right here in front of me the whole time.
Sometimes, in order to be a good coach, most of the time, first of all, you got to be a good teacher. You got to be able to slow down and explain to the individual exactly what's happening and exactly what the expectation is. And 9 times out of 10, if you can slow down and you can do that kind of stuff, the kid's going to be successful. He's going to have an opportunity to succeed.
The light bulb also clicked for senior Boltback Braden Ford, who was starting for his first time on defense.
Centennial is always a well-coached team. We knew going into it with the scouting report, they're a very talented team, they're well-coached, they're big, they're gonna hit you, and they ran just from a defensive perspective, they ran a 2 tight end set. And me personally, I was never the biggest guy, and so it kind of took a lot for Coach Kilmer to let me play down on the tight end because he thought I was gonna get my ass kicked.
The kind of kid that has the courage to play this game is the ones I really like to be around. And Braden sold me on that as a junior. So when we started his senior year, he's still too little, but you can't measure heart.
Today, Cleveland's new Boltback would show his coach he made the right decision.
They're running a flood concept behind me, and quarterback's looking at the deep out, and he goes to throw it, and Kendall just absolutely drills him. And the ball just goes over the out's head, and then I'm running over to it, and it was there was nobody around me. And so I was just running over, and I was like, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. And I caught it, and I look up, and there is just nothing but green grass in front of me. And I was I start running, and I'm like, am I gonna score? Holy shit, I'm gonna score. And I scored, and that was only my 2nd touchdown ever, and it was my first since 6th grade.
Padilla, it's picked off, and this might go to the house. That's a great tackle. 3. They can get a first down at the 1. Brody.
Although the Storm had moved one step closer to greatness, dominating the second half with backup quarterback Elijah Brody and wide receiver Nick Trujillo, the team still felt they had some work to do.
You know, it was the first game. We were all getting used to each other. We didn't have that chemistry yet. You know, me and Blaze Hess, we were the middle linebackers, and we didn't have that chemistry. We were kind of like miscommunicating calls from our coaches.
You know, obviously, like, kind of preseason, before the season, like, every team is going to be kind of rusty, and you're not really sure what your identity is yet. And after the Centennial game, we still didn't know that, but we knew that we were going to compete.
Cleveland's going to get it done. Final score 49-21.
The team had passed their first test of the season. Now it was time to show the community they too were a force to be reckoned with.
One of the hardest things to do for each team is to find their identity. They want to try to replicate what happened the year before or replicate what they've heard from seasons past, because we're storytellers at Cleveland. We want them to know what happened in the past.
Here, fakes the handoff, going to go up the middle. Touchdown, Storm. Wysong.
Excellent.
Again, just such great, even for like the NFL, where Terrell Davis, that's how he made the team. Interception to the end zone. He's going to run this one back. A pick six for the Storm. Wow.
Braden Ford, second pick six in a row. He had that one last week. Oh, what a nice pass. There you go. And right away, Nick Trujillo. Used to happen down in the southeast side. And Lucius Dixon with the touchdown.
A pitch to the right side, enough for the first down, crosses the 25 into the 20. That's Perry, room to run, and it's a Cleveland touchdown. Takes the snap, pitches over to Perry, and he's going to score on this one. He does, and he bulldozes over one of the Las Cruces players, and it's a touchdown, Cleveland. Takes the snap to Perry once again, up the middle, touchdown.
The Storm were on a roll. Next stop, the City of Champions.
You know, and we all knew it was going to be a huge environment. Coach was telling us all week, you know, this is the heart and soul of football in New Mexico. We knew it was going to be a big game, a lot of people. It was in the bowl. We knew that we had to come out and show out.
For us, on an internal setting, this game is great for us because Artesia throws the ball so well. They're located in what's called the City of Champions, and rightfully so. They've won the most state championships in the state of New Mexico. But, you know, as competitors and guys that feel like we are the cream of the crop in the state of New Mexico, we might carry a chip on our shoulder into that stadium and the opportunity to go play in the City of Champions.
It was a long 5-hour drive that day, but we show up, not really anyone there. Like, all right, there's not going to be that much people. Come out actually for pregame or like the warm-ups, and there's crazy amount of people. The announcer, me and Coach Nelson were warming up together, and where he was standing right next to me catching the balls from Elijah Brody with me, and they started announcing like the starters or something, and they say Centennial Storm, and Coach Nelson lost it. And I've never seen him that fired up in my life.
We were just like, okay. And so we go up in the locker room, and that's the first thing the coach right now writes on the board is Centennial Storm, and he got pretty fired up.
I just told our guys, hey, they don't even know who we are. They don't even know who we are. I mean, we're going to have to introduce ourselves, fellas.
It was supposed to go to Ethan Duran on a go route because the corner was supposed to trap, and the corner traps, and I just completely blanked, but somehow I took it like 60 to the end zone, which was exciting.
Their quarterback was really talented. He was a lefty, Nate Taylor, and he was really talented. And, you know, our D-line would make mistakes, which would allow him to get outside of the pocket, and then we just have a breakdown in the secondary, and he'd just find the guy down the field. And it wasn't necessarily mistakes in the game plan, it was just kind of mental errors.
The motivation provided prior to the game propelled the Storm to an impressive performance, especially by junior wide receiver Nick Trujillo.
Nick had a really big game that game. Scissor worked well on one long play, which was really cool to see, and then I was just throwing balls up to Mike, to Ethan, it was a really fun game for the offense.
We go into halftime and we talk a little bit. Our defense finally settles down once again. And I will say this, we played really well in the second half of these games, really well. And we started throwing the football. And Evan started getting going, doing his thing. And truth be told, I think we warmed down physically. We were up, God, I think we had scored 50-something points, and there's 2 or 3 minutes left in the football game. And we're literally running inside zone. We're running tight zone, just running the clock out. And we break 2 big, long touchdown runs at the very end of the game with running backs that hadn't been in the football game. Jaden Nunez breaks a big, long one. It's his first carry of the season.
Our offense just took off. You know, Lucius and Josh Perry, our running backs, they were the workhorses. And then all of our receivers were making amazing catches and touchdowns. And it was just a solid game after we were able to fix a few things.
Somehow we put up 70 in that game. I have no idea how. We set actually a school record, or like a stadium record for the most points scored in that game, which is exciting.
I've had this game circled on my calendar for a long time, and I have a lot of family in Artesia, and so I know how football is down there, and it was a big deal. And I would always joke with my dad, because he's from Artesia, so I would always joke with him, like, you know, when I'm in high school, I'm gonna go down to Artesia and I'm gonna beat you. And you know, for me, this was huge because I finally had that opportunity.
With the players' roles being defined, the team continued their dominance into district play. But sometimes there's a price to pay along the way. Junior starting running back Josh Perry gets a possible season-ending injury at the beginning of the Atrisco Heritage game.
And the quick toss, and that's in for the touchdown. Cleveland on top now, 13-0. There's the handoff, and powering in for the touchdown, and I think that was Dixon.
Wysong gonna keep it, and he is in. It's a touchdown for Evan Wysong. That didn't take long at all. Official ordered. Wysong rolling to his right. He's so quick. He throws on the move, and it is caught. Touchdown. What a bomb from Wysong to Nick Trujillo.
Coach, we get our scouting report, and Coach Reinauer, and he's like, we got a three stack. I was like, what in the world is that? He's like, it's going to be hell. I'm like, oh God.
We knew going into Volcano Vista, they're super athletic. They went to the 3-3 stack, and they were really good at it. They were really dynamic in it. And I knew all along, all week, that this defense was going to present problems for our offense. Just the way that we were structured, our personnel, versus the way they were structured and their personnel. So I knew it was going to be a challenge for us.
I would say that Cleveland and Volcano is arguably, it's definitely one of the more underrated rivalries in the state of New Mexico. And that is a very emotionally charged game because we don't like each other. And it's a very emotional game, and we knew that going into it. We knew Volcano is the type of team that if you give them emotion and you kind of give them that negativity, they're going to thrive off of it.
They've been doing a good job of like right now having a good. That's a good pass.
Great
Good play.
catch
Good play.
by Valdez. He's gone.
What would you just say, Sebastian?
We did not come out ready to play. And, you know, opening kickoff, they have the ball first, and it's the first play of the game, and it's a pass. They're throwing it right off the bat. And, you know, I'm getting with in depth. I'm kind of watching the quarterback. Dom and Strat just drill him. Actually, they take him out of the game. They dislocated his shoulder, and he somehow is able to get the ball down the field. And I turned my head and I looked behind me, and guess who? Number 2, Caden Valdez, just makes one hell of a catch and takes that first play of the game, and I'm like, oh no.
I was telling the offense, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight. And then first drive, I'm like, all right, we got this. First play, Lucius just gets smacked in the backfield. I'm like, oh God. And then second play, like, I don't really remember what happened. And then it was that 4th down, and Coach calls Vegas, which is like a screen left with a swing out right or swing out left, and screen right, and I turn, throw it to CJ, I throw it a little bit high and just watch him get flipped, and I was like, wow, it's going to be a long game.
Bell has in mind with 3 receivers at the bottom. He flips that ball in his hand, gets it over to Kieran Cordova. Cordova looking for the edge. He gets it at the 30 to the 20. One man to beat. Great downfield block. It's a touchdown for Cordova, and the Hawks have gone up 2 scores.
Understand the speed of the Hawks, and they weren't aware of that coming in. Oh, there we go. That same long pass. He's wide open.
And he's going to drop it in the bucket. Yeah. It's complete, and it's a touchdown.
And there's no laundry on the field.
Wow, another touchdown to Caden Valdez from deep.
I never really doubted our defensive plan or who we were. Our athleticism was always there. The standard is so high at Cleveland. And if you're not perfect, you feel like you're not good enough, which is a good thing, but it can be a bad thing too.
Ironically, I tell the coaches all the time that it's really difficult when you're really good in December and you start in August and you think, golly, that's not even close. We have to understand that as coaches, that the whole thing is a process of learning technique. It's a repetitive process of deliver a blow, play your gap, run to the football.
I always had the confidence in our defense. We moved Max Gillert from tight end to defensive line about halfway through the regular season, and that was a huge difference for us because Max has got an extremely good motor. You know, you combine that with Kendall Ulmer and Joe Mays, and you got Strat and all those linebackers, Dom and Braden, and you know, that's a good defensive front right there. So I knew we were going to be fine.
It's end of first quarter, and me and Reiner are just sitting there like, dude, we need to turn this up. And then we find an opening, we call like bolt 50 flood, and I see Nick just standing by himself, and I'm like target, turns around, takes it for like 60. I'm like, yes, all right, there's our cue. Defense gets another stop, and then I think the all famous play where I roll out right on post, or it was 50 post wheel and with 90 called, so I got to roll out to it, and it was kind of just, I see Nick, or I didn't really see Nick, but I just knew he was down there because I saw 2 guys just run into a point, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw it right there and just watch Nick go up. Moss 2 kids, the picture's insane.
But when we're down 20-0, and we can't afford to give up any more points, or we're gonna lose the football game, you really put on your defense, like, hey, we screwed it up offensively. We need you guys to shut them down and let us battle our way back into this thing. They really accepted the challenge that day. And if you want to call it a turning point, I could call it a turning point, but it was more just growing up and realizing what they were capable of.
Wysong looking that way. It's complete, and it is in for the touchdown.
He whiffed that tackle.
Fake to Dixon. Wysong going to keep it. Wysong's off to the races. Wysong is just short, and now he's touchdown. In. Great second effort. All that weight room work for Wysong, and he punches it in. Looking that way again, wide open up the middle there to Kieran Cordova. Cordova looking for some room. Cordova reaches in for the touchdown.
You see that one? How pick
first. I'll either agree or disagree. There's only 2 options.
Oh, here we go.
A lot of room up the middle.
Madrano
gets spun around, and he's in. There's that big.
It was a very bond building because, you know, any team that's down by 20 points and comes back and wins by double digits is insanely hard, and that in itself is like, that's a team effort. Defense has to do their job, offense has to do their job in order to be able to come back and do that.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And being down by 20 and having the faith and the belief, that's huge. When kids believe they can do something, anything is possible. Our kids believed they could come back. Our kids believed they could make adjustments. Our kids believed in the coaches, and we were able to turn around against a really good football team and come back and win the game. From that point forward, we knew that when our backs were against the wall for the remainder of the season, that this football team had the character and the mental toughness to overcome it regardless of how much time was left on that clock. This was a great situation for us, hindsight.
Trimmed up in electric blue. We'll return the kickoff here, and a block and a seal to the outside, and a move at the 30, and some room, and look out! Shot out of a cannon! And the returning kickoff is going to go! Cleveland! Touchdown! it's Wysong on 1st and goal, and he's going to keep it. And it's a foot race, and now he's going to throw it. He kind of flipped it towards the back of the end zone, and that's a touchdown. So it's Wysong. And a toss to the outside, and that's complete for 1st down and more. And walking in, breaks some tackles, touchdown. And that's Nick Trujillo. And then here's the handoff again, and there's all the room to walk in for another touchdown. Cleveland having their way. And so it's a second one for Chuka Tutman, the sophomore.
The Storm took care of business against West Mesa. Now the biggest game of the season was next.
You know, when you grow up in Rio Rancho, Cleveland Rio it's drilled into you young, and so you're in elementary school, and it's, you know, are you going to Cleveland or are you going to Rio? And it's just, it feeds up, you know, when you're playing youth football and when you're playing middle school ball, and then you're finally here and you're just like, I'm about to play. Cleveland and Rio Rancho is the best rivalry in the state. That, I think, at this point in time, that is without a doubt. It is bigger than Mayfield Cruces. It is bigger than Artesia Goddard. It is the best, biggest rivalry in the state.
It's like that week, we all came in on Monday to ready for prepare for that game, and you could tell everybody was serious about it. Everybody was like, all right, we gotta do this.
It's a rivalry. We know we have to go on the other side of Northern, which we don't really like doing, but we own the street of Northern now. It's very exciting for us when we get there. We want to get in, get out as fast as we can with a win, but it's a really big rivalry game for us, and it's a very serious week for us.
This year was more than just a rivalry game. This was number 1 versus number 2. The only undefeated teams left in Class 6A.
So Rio Rancho's talented, very talented. We knew they were talented, and truth be told, they were more talented than us across the board, matchup for matchup. They were better. Their secondary was better than our receivers. Their offensive line was bigger and stronger than our defensive line. The running back was faster than our linebackers. We had to be schematically really sound and do these things, and we put some guys in position where they just didn't do well. And that's on the coaches, you know, had guys in position where they couldn't be successful.
This offense, give it to V-Hill up the gut, big beast of a run there.
They kicked our ass. The first half, they kicked our ass, and I remember the first drive of the game, you know, it's 3 and out. We go 3 and out defensively, and we're going to the sideline, and we're like, let's go. And then Zach V-Hill did what Zach V-Hill does and ran all over us.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, Zach V-Hill decides to show up to the game and starts running the ball down our defense's throat, and I was like, we knew offense had to kick it in and help him out.
Straight back for the extra yard. They get back on the ground to him again, and look at him go.
Offense couldn't produce anything, and we just kept getting stuffed and kept getting stuffed.
Kind of some playoffs talk at halftime. As that one's on the ground to Medrano on the carry.
If he'd have turned his head, that'd have been a legal play.
They get it to Trujillo.
It was like right before second half. I had an opportunity to get on the end zone. We were at the 1 yard line, and coach calls 18 or 19 zone, which is me just running to the left. And I tried diving, or I just got stuffed at like the 2 yard line out of bounds.
Lunch on the right side, or the left side, excuse me. Wysong looking for some room, and he is short. It's another turnover on downs on 4th down, as Wysong could not punch it in. Rams trying to go up 21-0 here. They'll give it to the King, and it's the King's court. All hail!
King V-Hill.
Down 20-0 again, and we go in at halftime, and Evan, for the first time in my life, I saw Evan kind of wide-eyed, like in shock of what was happening, in shock of the environment, you know, like he'd never been there before.
I go in at halftime, I sit in sit in the locker room, and next thing you know, Josh Perry comes, he's like, hey, right now I need you.
And pulled Evan to the side, and, you know, had a little talk with Evan. We talked. And his brother was there by his side with him, and I said, I'm going to tell you the truth. And I told him the truth. And I said, you can either accept the truth or you can let it hurt your feelings, but the truth's coming. And I gave it to him.
We missed some tackles, and basically he did run all over us the first half. So we made an adjustment at halftime. We went back to a base defense, our base defense, and was much better.
Once we score, once our offense feels that confidence, the term juggernaut just continually pops in my head because you've opened the floodgates. Here we go.
Second down. Let's see if they try to run it again. We do. There's some space, and he's in. It's a Storm touchdown for Lucius Dixon, who finally punch it in. We'll give it to Dixon on the ground, and he's in. Touchdown, Storm.
Lucius, oh my God, what an amazing game by Lucius.
Dixon's got some room. Dixon towards the sideline. Oh. Dixon is heading towards the end zone, and he is in. It's a touchdown for the Cleveland Storm.
Oh my goodness.
Gets there, scores. Me and Nick are running down celebrating. He's like, bro, we just won. I was like, wait. He's like, what? I was like, I gotta make this kick. And Coach Garza tells me, he's like, I just, like, all the coaches just turned around. I was just praying I made this kick.
Mainly what I think I was trying to get out of Evan was just relax, take a deep breath, do what you do. You know, you've made a lot of these this year, and you know, I wish I could remember exactly what I said.
He hits it up the hole.
Here's the extra point. It is up and through.
I remember when he scored that, obviously we're going crazy on the sideline, we're excited, but defensively we all looked at each other and we said, one more stop. And, you know, we got this game.
Pretty asks for it quickly. Pretty looking down the field. He's going to throw it towards the end zone. It's up towards Wood, and it's incomplete. 36.5 seconds remaining. Doesn't look like they're going towards him. On the screen up the middle, it's complete at the sideline. Huge first down pass there from Dominic Pretty. Yep, the kicker's on the field. It's all up to the senior, Bailey Sivert. Remember, his brother Riley used to kick here. And he's made some huge kicks in his career. Now it'll be up to Bailey. This is for the ball game. It's a game-winning attempt. Coach Ridenauer is going to run all the way on the field as he wants a timeout. He's going to try to ice the kick.
I told our guys during that timeout, I said, we've come this far and done this much. You got one play left in you to win the district championship and be the #1 seed in the playoffs. So let's go finish this thing.
Here we go. Siverts for the win, and it is no
good.
The Storm
hold
on for a 1-point win.
Me and Dom are sitting on the edge, and I'm like, Dom, please block this dude. And Dom runs straight into him. I run around the side. I lay out for it. And like you could see in the back angle, like I lay out for it. I thought like I missed it. Like I was like, dang, we just won. You could see me get up and like I'm like, oh God, they really just won. I look over at the refs and he was like this, and I look over everybody running. I'm like, no way, we just won. I was like, probably one of the best moments of my life.
Like at the upright, and I see the ball just sail past it, and then I turn around and I see Ford, you know, sprinting down the field, waving his arms, and our side just went crazy. It was euphoric. That honestly was probably the greatest moment of my entire life. Just seeing that ball go wide right and just know like, oh my God, like we.
And those guys went out there and we did our best to block the dang thing, but ultimately he missed the kick. He pushed it right, and that's part of football. Is you got to execute if you want to win. And I don't think either team played well enough to really say they won the game. There was some sloppiness in the football game, but anytime you get a win in the district championship, that's putting hardware in the cabinet. And when it's against your rival at their place for the, I don't know, 4th, 5th time in a row, we'll take it.
I don't think if Volcano didn't go the way that it did, I don't think we would have won the Rio game. And you know, the reason behind that is we've been in a close game before and they haven't. And you know, Rio Rancho coming into this game was, we were the underdog going into that game, and you know, we're not the underdog very often, but that's kind of the mentality we had. Like, you know, like, all right, you want to rank us #2, let's go.
Volcano game was crucial for us in the Rio Rancho game because we believed we could. And when a team believes they can, anything's possible. You know, if you didn't have the leadership we had in the senior class, if you didn't have the ability to persevere and thrive on adversity, be at the scoreboard in this situation, you don't win that game. You got kids that'll quit, and this team didn't quit. This team always continued to fight, continued to trust the process, And anytime a team believes and trusts their coaches to that extent, anything's possible.
The team had ended the regular season undefeated and earned the #1 seed in the playoffs. Before the semifinals, the team received some bad news about a key player.
It was very emotional because the first round of playoffs after that game, our middle linebacker Blaze Hess went down and he got super sick, and we almost lost him.
Never knew anything was wrong with him. He competed well. He made many tackles that game and basically ran our defense.
That was my partner. I had to trust him with everything. And going into this game, I was playing for him. On my wristbands, they taped my wrist, and on him I put I wrote his name and I said, "Blaze Hess, this is for you," because he couldn't play.
They sat in the hospital room and cheered us on and watched us do what we do. And they said the nurses could hear him screaming and yelling during the game, and it was very kind of like the Remember the Titans moment, where he's in the bed, same type situation. But the best part is Blaze has a happy ending to this story. He full recovery. Blake was able to go home and give him that medal and put it around his neck.
So for me, this was very this is for you. This is all it. This is he was a senior, I was a senior. I was kind of playing for both of us.
When he got healthy, we pushed the photo for the state championship back until Blaze was healthy enough to come be in the photo with us. So he was in the photo with us, and then at that point we brought the blue trophy out, we got his teammates out, we got our jerseys out, and we let him relive that state championship and take all the photos that he wanted to take with his brothers and be as much a part of it as he could, because what he went through it's scary.
The Storm had one last stop to where their season had begun, and were now 13-0 going into the championship game. The championship game would be a rematch against crosstown rival Rio Rancho.
People were saying, oh, is V-Hill going to play? He's got the rib injury. Is the lineman going to play? I heard he had a bad ankle. Is the linebacker going to play? I heard his knee is sore. And my response to that is, this is football. Every team in America this time of year is dealing with things. Nobody should feel good at this time of year. Nobody felt sorry for Angelo Trujillo back in 16 when he tore his ACL. Nobody felt sorry for Dorian when he tore his ACL in 18. I can go down the list of players that we've lost. Do I want him to get hurt? Heck no, not even a little bit. But were we preparing for Zach V-Hill to play? 100%.
Also in the game plan was junior running back Josh Perry, who had suffered an injury during the Atrisco Heritage game.
Week prior on the state game, we just beat the crap out of Las Cruces for the second time, and after the game, we're shaking hands, and I was a little late to it because I was trying to get the game ball, and I run over to Josh, and Josh is crying because right after he broke his collarbone, I called him, I made him a promise. I was like, hey, you're gonna play another football game this year. He's like, dude, I don't think so. I was like, dude, I promise you, I'll give you another football game. And I run over to him and he's crying. I'm like, bro, I gave you another football game, now let's go win this last one.
The stage was set, their dream within reach. Standing in their way was their toughest opponent of the season.
We go out, we run out, and we did what we did, I remember I made the first tackle of the game. They gave it to Zach first play, and I just broke on it hard, tackled him on the edge. And then from that point on, it was just lights out defensively.
They throw some weird ass fake punt and throws it up, and just worst throw I've ever seen in my life. We get the ball at our own 17, and we're just confused, why did they do that? First play gets outside zone to Josh. He takes it down to the 4-yard line. Second play gives it outside zone to Josh again, takes it in the end zone. I'm like, dude. And Josh comes over to me crying, bro. He's like, dude, thank you. I was like, bro, you got plenty more, just wait.
I had a really good feeling based off our preparation how that game was going to go. And we ran the football all we wanted to, and I thought we were pretty dominant in the football game.
I give it to Josh. Lucius cracks the flippin' DN. Somehow Josh finds himself on the backside, makes a nasty spin move to the outside, and me and Lucius just watch him just run 70. And we're just like, Lucius like on his knees at like the 40-yard line, just like crying. I'm like, bro, no way, we just won. Like, he's like, dude, thank you so much for the good season. I was like, bro, you're such an amazing player. Like, me and Lucius had a moment on the field.
It fills me with just so much joy just to know that, like, as a team, like, we've been through so much adversity, and we have, we've dealt with the media, we've dealt with the negativity, that, is this Cleveland Storm legit? And I think, just Josh Perry breaking that ball down the sideline, it was like, yeah, we are 13-0 undefeated state champions, and there is nothing that you can do to take that away from us.
You see everyone just running at us, and I was like, oh my God, dude, no way, we just won. And then, like, it was such like a surreal moment for us. Like, we're all extremely happy.
It was an amazing moment, and I'm going to cherish that forever, winning the state title as a senior with my brothers.
It's something that I'll never forget for the rest of my life, is just being a part of this team and this tradition and this culture.
In 2021, it felt proven. The process works. We lose that senior class. Nobody thought we were going to be very good. Our players didn't think we were going to be very good, but we stuck to our guns and what we do and how we approach it. We didn't panic when we got down. We didn't panic when people got injured. We leaned on each other. We trusted each other. Played with a little love in our heart. It's okay to play football that way. And the program was proven at that point, in my opinion. It's on a 22-game winning streak right now. Won 28 out of the last 30. Played in the last 4 championship games that you can play in. The process is proven. In 2010, I got the opportunity to come to Cleveland High School and help open a new school. Coach Potter gave me the opportunity to be an offensive coordinator, something I've never done. In 2 years under Coach Potter, we went 22-2 and we won 2 district championships and a state championship. And Coach Potter, I will forever be thankful for what Coach Potter did for me in my career. And the people that I've had the opportunity to coach for have truly molded me into who I am. If I didn't have the opportunity to play for Speedy Faith in high school, or Bud Elliott at Eastern, or coach for Coach Roanhouse at Clovis, or be around Kirk Potter and Bruce Mitchell at Cleveland High School, I would not be who I am today. So getting the opportunity to come here at that time, move my family, as hard as it was a godsend. Coach Potter retires in the spring of 2012. And one of the greatest compliments I've ever had in my coaching career was a nonverbal compliment. Coach Potter retired on a Monday, and they announced me the head coach on Tuesday without asking me if I wanted the job. They didn't open it up. They didn't interview people. They trusted me to take over the program, and that was one of the best compliments that I could ever have. So from that point on, not that I wasn't loyal to Cleveland, but I felt an obligation to make Cleveland the best it could possibly be, help it be the premier program in the state, and to create a tradition that was to be loved and something that people wanted. And for 10 years, I was the head coach at Cleveland, and we won a lot of football games, more so developed a ton of relationships. We won a lot of district championships, won several state championships. We're on a 22-game winning streak, 28 out of our last 30. I mean, there's a lot of talk about winning, but What I loved most was the relationship with the kids, the relationship with the coaches. Didn't know it, but the state championship in 2021 was my last high school football game in the state of New Mexico, and it wasn't easy to say that and make the decision to leave Cleveland and pursue the opportunity to coach college football like I have. I love Cleveland High School. Scott Affentranger is the best principal, the best leader, the best visionary in New Mexico high school. He understands kids, and working for him, man, I was at the top. I had everything I wanted, and from the outside looking in, it looked easy. So in saying all this, I want every player that's ever played for Cleveland High School, that's ever played for me, to know how much I love you, how much I care for you. And once a storm, always a storm. You got my phone number, and I'll always hold Cleveland. Has a special place in my heart. And moving on, got to do what's best for me and my family. But I want you to know from afar, I will always be going for the storm. And thank you to all the coaches that worked for me. They gave me everything they had, that helped us build the tradition that is there. And I know the program is in really good hands, and the tradition will be protected.